Jerusalem, you the one, say lie like Judah, son. Pray I bring the truth to some, speed fast in a coupe of some. Bring the last to the pinnacle roof, yeah, the let I spit, the let I write. Use the force like a Jedi Knight, Air Force like red eye white. Scared of force, I bet I might. Speed off, see you swerve down the street, lost. Heart beats off, never know if this life could be lost. Might tee off, make you run like Chuck Carry dog. Run, nigga, run. Young niggas at the bottom like we came the ones. Young niggas at the bottom like we came the ones. Like we came the ones. Young niggas at the bottom like we came the ones. Like we came the ones. Young niggas at the bottom, gotta leave fast like Sodom. Gotta creep fast, hit the street sad, the day be bad till they taught them. Now we deep fast, so they deep fast, to pray we fast, for we call them. Yup, seats hang like fruit. My eye keys we gang like Bruce. My eye keys we hang like noose. From a city I claim rights to. From a city I claim rights to. Will I make it through the gate? Pray I do. Famous last words, forgive me too. All of my fam, I pray they do. Gotta repent or we can't get through. Gotta repent or we can't get through. No, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide, wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide Shofar blow, we so far gone. Babylon came to town and they stole our home. Put us up on the trees and they broke our homes. Gave lemons, made juice like Omar Bro. Bishops robbing cops and robbers. It's such a problem, who can solve it? We walk the block with eats and Bibles. Teach the streets to seek survival. Bring peace to junkies, creeps and shotters. Peace to riders. No right foot creep when the beef is ours. We don't have the same heat when police are violent. So we ain't real G's to the streets is ours. Beast devour, can't lock step with coward. Come and preach every week, but the hungry scholar. Bringing more than just words. We pour in suburbs. The score is never settled till you're in the furs.
All my saints that call Yahweh, stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours, take the kingdom forever and ever and ever and ever. All my saints that call Yahweh, stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours, take the kingdom.
Yeah, culture dealer, dope for real, a hope for the lowest hill, the broken spirit. I was told to open prison, store the sick and broken bones, repair every broken home. Know your role, our house is a broken home. Fell away from our God, so we broke our bones. Do the Ron 6-8 till I please my God. See, I bind them fast in between my eyes. In the spirit till we rise and the king preside. Man is flawed, lean on God. Damn, it's hard to see her side. Cameras off and damn, I off the need to cry. Deeds aside. We should be well known where your light show. And you know we used to be up in the night. Now we let the spirit in the light show. Tired of being dark, so we see you in the light. Let's go.
All my saints that call Yahweh, stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours, take the kingdom forever and ever and ever and ever. All my saints that call Yahweh, stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours, take the kingdom forever and ever and ever. This here for Yah for show. Only see Abba and Zadok for show. Never keep pride or they eat your soul. Music for the kings and I breach your show. This here for Yah for show. Only see Abba and Zadok for show. Never keep pride or they eat your soul. Music for the kings and I breach your know.
Some of y'all want to hear something good, right? That's why y'all clicked on the track. You thought you was going to get something. Well, guess what? We aiming at you. Bah! They come with the the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke, but I can see a fake Jake from a long way, way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke. I can see a fake Jake from a long way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke. I can see a fake Jake from a long way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke. I can see a fake Jake from a long way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Now my brothers keep swords and you know that. Light like midnight, black like Kodak. Ready for smoke, cause details like females. We don't share it, they ain't for retail. Just know that the spirit of love, spirit of grace and all the above. I remember being young, dumb, stupid, riding around, having problems with other brothers I knew nothing about. But now we push community, now we look for unity, trying to get it synergy. A lot of y'all eulogy, may well read. I only come around when the smoke is something to see. You ain't a brother to me, you just a hating Satan. Need to repent for the spirit on you is taken away. Seen this title, thought the story would tell. I guess our people still under us, but ain't no smoke. You won't smoke, so I kinda don't last. The type of brother y'all wish I gon' pass. You won't smoke, you came for smoke, that's what you gon' get. Aim the cannon at you, let you get smoked down. You won't smoke, so I kinda don't last. The type of brother y'all wish I gon' pass. You won't smoke, you came for smoke, that's what you gon' get. Aim the cannon at you, let you get smoked down. They come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke, but I can see a fake Jake from a long way, way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke. I can see a fake Jake from a long way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like away. Smoke. Come with the smoke, under the coat. I've been younger before, dumber and broke. I can see a fake Jake from a long way away. Stay in the spirit and watch it just like smoke. My water straight from the throne. We built the altar with the unhewn stones. Roam through the city, all we see is these bones. So my face like flint till I wake a couple souls. A prophet hated by his own, so the father sent his son to bring the tribes of Jacob home. Jumping through these traps, cause they trying to see us gone. But we walking through the fire just like Daniel and his bros. From every sheep to her zone, we stay inside the book because the book is all we own. Heritage and you better hold it on. We like David fighting giants with no armor and a stone. We face east cause a car home. We face east just to call home. We can't sleep till we all home. We won't rest till they all gone. So I guess that we be calling out they all bones. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the Zod, the King. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashat, Nagin. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the Zod, the King. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashat, Nagin. From every sheep to the books in Greek, the dragon took the sheep. Man, the book complete. The father looked for peace, but we shook the beast. Now we up until our power put the hook in cheek. Shema, Yasha Allah, Abanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. He the tower till he give us the power of God. Though in the tower you would never devour a tribe. The Lord despised all you devils, your hours arrived. Blessed the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. We trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashat, Nagin. Blessed is he that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. Trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashat, Nagin.
All right, y'all. Shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. We're gonna let a couple people get up in here. Make sure I got everything straight. But Ashaka Dasharak to everybody pulling up. Happy new moon. This is not gonna be a new moon lesson in particular, because we weren't gonna have a Milk Monday today, but what we are gonna do, my brother asked me to do this class today, and I got a little video to show you guys. So we're gonna quickly dissect this and then hop on off for the night. So it's not gonna be too long of a class, hopefully. I do want to say before we get started, the water to everybody that pulled up to the Mashara Yasharala Summit. It was dope, really good experience. If you didn't make it, good news is most likely the elders have told us we'll be the ones doing the next two. So at least whenever they get to Atlanta, we'll be doing that. And whenever they get to San Francisco, that will be us as well. So even if they're not the next two back to back, you know what I'm saying? Whenever they're in Atlanta, we're going to be doing that one. When they get back to California, the next location for that will be San Francisco. So we're going to be out there with Shaquat and Yahawada and them. So, yeah, Zebulon and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, if you pulled up, hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Judah and the brothers out there in North Carolina, Jonathan, all them, they did a real good job, the venue and everything like that. So shout out to the brothers, man. Y'all did good. We did it again 2 times. You know what I'm saying? So 3 and 4 is gonna be better. Best believe it. So if you didn't get a chance to come to these, you know what I'm saying? The last 2 we had, be sure to make it to the next 2. They might be the last 2. So yeah. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into the announcements. Well, ain't no announcements. That was the announcements. The comments, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into the lesson. And Salakia for my voice, I'm still going through the pulmonary contusions and stuff. You know what I mean? If any brothers want to pull up to the class tonight, y'all could come help. But if not, it's cool. I'll be straight by myself today. So, but all right. Of course, we got the good sis, Joan Gilchrist. Shalom, big sis. Good to see you. Shalom, Jayla. Shalom, Laura. We got the big officer Boaz. Shalom, King. Sister Don. Big Nasha. Shalom, sis. Appreciate all your help this weekend. We got DTA. Nadab in the building. Shalom, King. Be like ants. Shalom, King. Was good. Got the good sis Anariah. House of Nadab in the building. Shalom. Got President Donald Humpty Dumpty Trump in the building. Yeah. Green eggs and ham. Shalom. We got the Tribe of 5. What's good to y'all? House of Howard in the building. Rose of Young Lioness. Rose the Young Lioness. Salakia. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. Got Kasadia in the building. What's up, King? The help of Chaziah. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. We got Isaiah. What's up, King? Shalom, shalom, big eye. Yeah, all right, cool. So, like I said, I'm not expecting too many of y'all tonight, but we're gonna go ahead and get this class going. Just to get it over with. To put the stance out there, right? The Anointed House of Saints, we do indeed believe that Arsareth is in America. I'm gonna prove that tonight. This video that we're going over, we're also going to, I guess, talk a little bit about Israel too, because this is going to also dissect the fact that Israel isn't in America as well. So if anybody that believes that nonsense, this is also going to be something that will debunk your belief. But one thing I want to say though, hold on just a second before I get started. Hold on just a second, y'all. All right. So, my bad. But yeah, our stance at the Anointed House of Saints is in fact that we do believe that Arsareth is in America. You know what I'm saying? And I I've realized that a lot of the people in the truth, right? They come into the truth, they realize that we've been lied to about some things, and the saying that Judah was using at the summit, I'm gonna go ahead and use. They throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And they start to feel and think that everything we were taught was a lie. So even to the point that certain geographical locations that we were taught is a lie. And yeah, big guy energy. But everything isn't a lie that we was taught, right? That's the first thing. For one, a lot of the things that they teach us, they had to teach us because they knew that it was fact. They just had to find a way to implant themselves into the history, right? Doesn't mean that it was wrong that they taught you what they taught you. It just means that they had to implant themselves into the history that they taught you. Because in many cases, it wasn't them actually doing the things they were talking about, right? It was other people doing those things. They just implanted themselves into that history. Doesn't make it wrong. Doesn't mean that they lied to you about every single aspect of everything they've ever taught us, though, right? So that's kind of what we're going to be debunking today, because there's a sect of the Israelite community, again, a sect that doesn't come from camps, a sect that learns from people on Facebook, right? And this is actually a Facebook topic, right? There's the man that made this doctrine, that came up with the map or showed this map. That's a fake map, by the way. Doesn't even say the word Arsareth. It says Af Af like Arsareth or something like that, right? Which isn't Arsareth. But we're gonna get into all that in a minute. It's Facebook scholarship that has made this thing a doctrine, just like all the other stuff that Facebook has shined a light on for certain Israelites that don't want to join camps, don't want to join people that have actually been doing the work for a long time, like the certain elders we have all throughout the nation, right? Whether they run camps, congregations, or have schools or whatever you want to call it, right? There's people that don't want to attach themselves to that in their knowledge. They want to basically glorify themselves in their own knowledge, right? And those people, in turn, doing that, uh, they end up having to make up a bunch of doctrines to make themselves seem smarter than what they are, right? So we're wrong because we're teaching that Arsareth is America, right? We have proof to back it up, and all they have is a map with the wrong word on it, right? And there's other things that we're going to get into as well, as far as biblical prophecy. The timeline it took the Northern Kingdom to get to Arsareth has to line up with wherever you say Arsareth is on the map. So if it says it took them 180 days, just to throw out a number, right? You know what I'm saying? If it said it took them 180 days or 150 days, you know what I'm saying, to get from this place that they started with Charlemagne Shah's people to go to this new place where never mankind dwelt, Arsareth, if it took them a year and a half or something like that, or whatever it says, 50 days, because it's going to have a timeline or time limit, rather, in the Bible that it took them, right, to get to this land. Whatever place you say that this place is at, wherever you say this place is at, has to correspond with that, frame of time. It also has to correspond with there being water, because the Bible clearly says that the Northern Kingdom was brought on ship to this land. It also clearly says that the Southern Kingdom would be brought on ships to this land, right? And something specific needs to be said before we get into the lesson. This place, Arsareth, right, has to correspond with this scripture. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 33. So it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel," which is the Northern Kingdom, Hispanics, Native Americans, or whoever you think the Northern Kingdom is, right? That's who we think it is. And the children of Judah, right? Southern Kingdom. We would say they're the so-called blacks, West Indians, Haitians, and the people that descend from them scattered abroad, right? Were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Now, if you've been paying attention to our last few Milk Monday classes, right, you'll notice that we talked about, at least the last two, we talked about Babylon and we talked about Assyria, right? So Babylon and Assyria are two places, right, in the so-called Middle East, or wherever you think they are, because this guy that we're about to watch in a minute doesn't think they're over there. He thinks they're in America. But wherever you think Babylon and Assyria are, right? They're the two nations that took the Israelites into captivity after Egypt, right? So we had Assyria take the northern kingdom, Babylon take the southern kingdom. Eventually, Babylon returns the southern kingdom back to Israel and everything like that, right? Through the Persians and Medes, but which were still a sect of Babylon. When we go into that history, we'll explain that more, right? The Persians and Medes were like a break off offshoot of the Babylonian dynasty, if you will. They were all controlled by the Babylonians, which in turn before that were all controlled by the Assyrians, as we showed you guys. All their kings are connected, right? So, but the point is, this captivity, right, to Arsareth has to include both the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, the majority of both, right? So, if we know that the majority of the southern kingdom was going to be taken into captivity on ships, and they called themselves the people in America. Even the ones on Facebook believe themselves to be the Southern Kingdom, right? That would mean that the majority of the Northern Kingdom has to also be here with you to make Jeremiah 50 and 33 true, right? To make scriptures like this, Jeremiah 16 and 16 correct. Certain things like, the location of where both kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom of Israel, are at after their last captivity have to correspond with each other, and they have to be the same location. One of us or one group can't be in America, the other group can't be in Africa. That's not how it works, right? Jeremiah 16 and 16 says, we'll start at 14. Salakia. Jeremiah 16 and 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again unto their land that I gave unto their fathers. Now, again, if you also remember the class that we did the last 2 weeks, there's only two places on the planet Earth, according to the Israelites, that have been known as the lands of the north, right? Assyria was a land of the north, it being north of Israel, right? The northern people of the north, right, were the ones that came and took them captive. So Assyria would have been a land of the north, and also North America, right? Arsareth is considered a land of the north. Now, if we believe ourselves to be the Israelites, and you believe the Hispanic and Native Americans to be the 10 tribes, that would make Jeremiah 50 and 33 correct. And it would mean that eventually all of us will be saved from the land of the north, North America, right? Wouldn't make sense for us to be in Assyria because we know the majority of us are not over there anymore. And, according to this doctrine that we're debunking today, Assyria isn't even one of the places that they say that the Israelites are at predominantly in a large number. We know we have a remnant there, according to Isaiah 11, but the majority or predominant number is not still in Assyria, which is why they're not mentioning Assyria in this doctrine, right? The only two places with these two doctrines of duck monkeys that we're talking about today is Arsareth being Africa, right? Or Arsareth being America. You feel me? So that's what we're going to get into today. And at the same time, like I said, we'll also be debunking anything that anybody feels about Israel being America, because that's going to be the start of the video that we're going to watch today. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into this video real quick. And of course, we're going to do this using fair use. All right. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into this. According to that, this is called the America, the True World Order, episode 1, the deception, right? We're not going to watch all his video, maybe about no more than 5 to 10 minutes of it. I just basically want you guys to understand his mind frame and the mind frame of people that believe this mess, right? He's also going to explain to you the people that he gets his information from. None of them are which, except for New Breed, are going to be Israelites. And if you know anything about New Breed, he doesn't have the doctrine of educated Israelites, if that makes sense, right? The people his YouTube channel are geared to are people that don't necessarily know much about the Bible, Israelite doctrine, or anything pertaining to the work of Israelites, because he's not on the spectrum of the Israelites that do that type of job, right? So, but we'll talk about that as we get going. Pay attention And y'all hit the like button as y'all watch the video, man. As y'all come in the building, Baba Kashah to watch. And shalom to everybody in the building.
Shalom, Osio, and Grand Rising brothers and sisters. All praises to the Most High Yahweh for giving me the inspiration to make this video and for everything that He does for us. I give recognition to the Holy Spirit for giving us the spirit of understanding, and I give recognition to Yahweh Shai for laying down the blueprint on how to live. Also, I want to give a salute to all the brothers and sisters who actively keep and teach the laws of the Most High, who actively seeks out and teaches the truth. In this documentary, I will be compiling everything that I've learned from other YouTubers and their sources, along with my own findings.
You see this? In this video, he's compiling things he learned from other YouTubers according to them and also his findings. What's good, B Golden? Long time no see, good brother. Good to see you, bro. But yeah, so this is something that our people kind of gotta get away from, right? The YouTube, Facebook scholarship. Y'all need to get some books, right? Y'all need to get into some history. Y'all need to watch some documentaries. Do something other than watch what other people have put up. Because a lot of this stuff, like Dan Calloway, I've showed you guys before, he doesn't use things that are, actual factual documentation. A lot of it is stuff he's made up. A lot of it is stuff that he's found on the internet that he's made, conclusions to or scientific hypotheses of, right? And came and brought it to the internet because he has a large following and taught it like it was fact. For people that have actually gone and researched the stuff that he says, instead of just believing it because he showed you a little piece of paper on a live feed or whatever, on a video that he edited real well or something like that, right? You usually find out that the stuff he's talking about isn't actually true, right? And it's very easy to debunk, especially with older documents than the documents he's trying to show you, right? The problem is, like I said before, when Israelites, see things like this, they don't typically pay attention or try to dissect or even go into what's being said by these guys. They just take it at face value and believe whatever it is that they told them. And that's what I want you guys to get away from, right? So that's mainly what I'm going to be showing you guys how to do in this class, right? How to debunk stuff like this biblically, right? And make it make sense, or to prove that it doesn't make sense, right? Hey, shalom out, Naphtali. Good brother in the building, another one. Y'all popping out the woodworks today, all right? Shalom to y'all. Terzai, what's up, sis? So yeah, check this out.
I will be citing other people's works and will be giving credit where credit is due. But before we get into this documentary, I'd like to give salutes to brothers and sisters whose work has inspired me to make this documentary. I'd like to salute Big Judah, salutes to Greenio.
You ain't talking about our Big Judah, you're talking about a different one. Greenio, I don't know who that is.
Salutes to UBTV. So
UBTV, I feel like that's a Moor, but I don't know.
Salutes to Lil Moray. So
we know that is a Moor.
Salutes to Dan.
Lil Moray is like a dude that is a Moorish Israelite type brother, right? He I think he's Old Testament too.
Calloway.
So Dan Calloway, right? We know about that duck monkey. So far, everybody he's mentioned is somebody with doctrines, right? That doesn't necessarily go straight from the book, right? And obviously, a lot of their historical sources are going to be weird as well, if they're actually historical sources, like in the case of Dan Calloway and New Breed and stuff, right?
Salutes to Tasha C. Salutes to Opie Miha. Salutes to a New Breed. And salutes to other brothers and sisters who put in work who I did not mention. Now, without further delay, let's get into why I'm a firm believer that Israel, along with other ancient kingdoms, are over here in the Americas and not on the other side of the Atlantic.
It says your mind is programmable. If you're not programming your mind, someone else is
To
programming it
my
for you.
audience, I want to pose a question that most people who are new to these truths ask. Why do you believe that Israel is located in the Americas, and what proofs do you have? My response is, I firmly believe that Israel, along with other ancient kingdoms, are located in the Americas based on an overwhelming abundance of evidence and proof that the land of Canaan, along with other ancient civilizations, have always been located in these lands and not on the other side of the Atlantic.
Now, I let him say that, but I'm going to rewind this a bit to show you this map, right? Because this map alone doesn't make any damn sense, right? And you'll see everybody that tries to do this, they try to make it a little bit different, right? They want Utah to be, real close to Israel and everything, the plains of Moab, because they have certain places in Utah that are renamed these places, right? What you have to learn about Utah is that Utah itself is a place that was basically founded by Mormons. If you know anything about Mormons, which I've realized most Israelites do not, because what? They don't actually read books. They don't do research. They don't go into history, none of that stuff, right? There's a book that I give you guys and speak about a lot. Do I even have it over here? There's a book I talk to you guys a lot about, and it's Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, right? So, yeah, I don't have it over here. But Lost Tribes and Promised Lands is a book that the Mormons have been using for a long time, right? In books like it, such as this one, A Star in the West, right? Another book that they've been using for a long time to find the actual history and certain artifacts and stuff like that left behind by the Northern Kingdom in America, because they know that this is where they were at. Once they, found out the information they need to find out about the Native Americans being Israelites, the Northern Kingdom being here in America, they made a doctrine or a religion off of it to make themselves attached to those people. They even started marrying into some of those people, right? A lot of your $5 Indians started with Mormons, if you guys didn't know that, right? They were people who went to the government, right? Tried to claim Native American heritage, right? And in turn, this Native American heritage that they were claiming was also supposed to give them right to the Israelite heritage and culture and practices, right? Which is what the Mormons basically play on, is what their religion is based off of, right? Them pretending to be the Northern Kingdom. Even so much as saying they're descendants of the Northern Kingdom, making up these names like Nephi and all that other crap, right? So try to make it seem like they're these Northern Kingdom Hebrew Israelite names or something like that. They really come from a white guy, right? Joseph Smith, I think his name is. So yeah, but fact of the matter is, in the point, they've named places in Utah after certain places in the Bible that match up with Northern Kingdom places that they took over to try to make themselves feel more at home in the place that they were given to live under them pretending to be the Northern Kingdom, right? They even have certain laws in Utah that the rest of America doesn't have, like them being able to have multiple wives if you're a Mormon in the state of Utah, right? So stuff like that. You can't be a Mormon in Georgia and have multiple wives, but you could be a Mormon in Utah and have multiple wives because that state was basically made just for them, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And I implore you guys to do your research on that later on in your own time. But yeah, Utah is Judah. That's crazy, right? So let me see what World Without End said. He said, yeah, the artifact is in Ohio, don't mean the land of is Israel. Yeah, because one thing you got to understand, right? With the Native Americans, my people, right? Gad, we brought the artifacts with us, as I told you guys 2 weeks ago and last week, that the way it worked with us being brought over here, we came with the Assyrians. We didn't get dropped off by ourselves, right? And we're going to speak about that today. So we came with the Assyrians. We proved that last week. We showed you guys the artifacts, showed you the articles, all that type of stuff, right? Where they proved that there were actual Assyrians that got off the ship with Shalmaneser because Shalmaneser was murdered, which is why they all left. He was killed in the process of, deporting the Israelites. He got into a war, a scuffle, right? I think with Damascus, if I'm not mistaken, but somebody, right? He got into a scuffle, went out there to fight them himself, and never made it back. So everybody that was fighting for him, right, his legion, if you will, they decided to leave with us, right, because they knew that they were not going to be in power. They weren't going to have the same privileges due to this new leader that they were going to have ruling over them, right? So they hop on the ship, come to Arsareth with us, right? So there's going to be artifacts that we have, like the Chief Joseph Stone. It comes from Assyria, right? But Chief Joseph had it in America, right? The Bat Creek Stone, which is the one they talk about in Ohio. It's a high, like it's a stone with Assyrian writing on it and Paleo Hebrew writing on it, but it's in Ohio. Why? Because, well, Ohio is a Native American tribe, dummy. And guess what? They're part of the people that were brought over here with the Assyrians. So they have artifacts to prove who they are. The Cherokee had artifacts to prove who they are. The Aniwaya, right? My people, the Comanche, had artifacts to prove who we were. All of the tribes had artifacts to prove who they were. That's what Columbus and Cortez and all them other dudes was doing. They was coming over here taking artifacts, using the artifacts to prove that we were the people that we said we were, right? Along with the Hebrew interpreters they brought with them, like Luis de Torres, right? Something else this video is going to show you, right? Before I get into dissecting this map, he's going to try to use things that they haven't taught you in school to make it seem like what they have taught you is a lie. So the Americas isn't the Americas, right? This is really Babylon, Assyria, Egypt, and all that stuff. The thing they're not thinking about is, well, we were brought here, or we're here now. So let me ask you this, right? If this map is correct, that either means the slave trade didn't happen, or we were brought to the wrong place. Because if we were brought back to where Babylon, Egypt, and Israel and Assyria is, that means we have to be taken on ship across the world, right? Because this nation of Esau, whoever you think it is supposed to come from one end of the earth as swift as the eagle flieth to torture us, right? Right? The northern and the southern kingdom. They're supposed to hold us fast and not let us go, like Jeremiah 50 and 33 says, right? So how does that happen if we're here in America? And this is Babylon, Egypt, Assyria, and Israel. That means we got to go somewhere else. That means we actually have another captivity coming, right? If you believe in the Bible. Or is Deuteronomy 28 a lie too? Feel what I'm saying? So now let's get into this debunking this map before we let this video play, right? Because it really don't make no sense. They have Israel all the way on the West Coast, right? So it's California, Vegas, Utah, all that stuff, right? So Washington State, right, where it snows. That's crazy. So look, I got a question. Just going off the Bible. Luke 21 and 20, right? Everybody, put a 7 in the chat if you've read Babylon and Timbuktu. Somebody put a 7 in the chat if you have read Babylon to Timbuktu, please. All right. While y'all doing that, I'm going to read you something in the book of Luke. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 20. This is Yahushua. It's a red letter. It says, and when ye see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. Right? All right, I see all the 7s. Good. So you guys should know what I'm talking about in a second. So let all of them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. Right? So Yahushua is telling everybody, when you see, Jerusalem compassed with armies, which would be the Romans, flee to the mountains. Here's my question, right? Real talk. This is going to be funny for you guys. Now, check this out. For one, it already doesn't make sense because we're in the place where we're at, right? Luke 21 and 12 tells us to flee to the mountains. This is in 63 AD. 62, 63 AD, right? By the time 70 AD comes, 1 million Jews flee to the mountains, as it tells us in Babylon and Timbuktu, right? The mountains happen to be in Egypt. They have Egypt over here. You know what's over here? This is Texas, right? Tejas. This is where my people was from, right? The Comanche, the Munu Tekwapu, huh? You know why we're famous, the Comanche? We used to steal horses. We were known as the Lords of the Plains. In fact, hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Right? We were known as the Lords of the Plains. You see that flag? That's our flag right now. Comanche Nation, Lords of the Southern Plains, right? Where are the Southern Plains? Let's see right quick. Hold on. Where are the Comanche from? Oh, the Comanche tribe originated from the Great Plains and are now centered in Oklahoma, right? They are a branch of the Shoshone people from Wyoming, right? So, and look at the places. We got New Mexico, Tejas, Oklahoma, and there was Colorado too. So, with that being said, me being a Lord of the Plains, right? The plains are, let me ask you guys this. Put a 7 in the chat if plains are flat, or put a 6 in the chat if plains are mountainous, right? If you think plains are flat, put a 7 in the chat. If you think plains are mountains, put a 6. Because the Bible tells us flee to the mountains, right? We know according to history, the mountains they would have fled to would have been Egypt because you couldn't get to Assyria, right? It wouldn't have made any sense to go that way either, because if you know anything about the history, the Romans, since the time of Alexander, which was 330 BC, 330 years before Christ, they took over everything from Athens, Macedonia, to Punjab, India. You know, if you're in Jerusalem, especially if we look at this map, let's put a map back up. Let's use their map, right? Their logic. If we're in Jerusalem, we can't go this way to any mountains. We can't go to the east because what? Assyria is led by who? Assyria is led by who? Assyria is led by, well, at this time, Romans, right? They're in control of it. Babylon. Who's controlling Babylon? Romans, right? This is all like the Seleucid Empire and stuff up here, right? So in Punjab, India is way over here somewhere, further east, right? Asia. The thing that doesn't make sense about this map is that they have Egypt on the southeast side of Israel. And we know that it's not. Egypt is on the southwest side of Israel, right? The problem is with this map, there is no southwest side because there's a big body of water here, right? The Pacific. They're calling it the Red Sea. The Great Sea is what they're calling this here, right? And Phoenicia is right here, which would mean Nineveh would be up here, right? So keep all that in mind. There's no Egypt over here for us to flee to. The mountains end in San Diego. And then you got to go south to Mexico, right? But when you get to Egypt, which is where, according to, the Bible, that's where Moses had to go. That's where we went with Jacob. Abraham went there, right? When he crossed over the river and went through the mountains, he ended up in Egypt, right? When Yahushua went to go flee, he ended up in Egypt. When we're told to flee, we have to pass through Egypt, right? Even Elder Matatua was telling us how they got stories right now in Ghana, Africa, since y'all think, Arsareth is in Africa, right? We talking about the American part right now, but we're going to get to Africa in a second. For those of y'all that think that Arsareth is in Africa, Elder Matatua will tell you that all the way in West Africa, Ghana, right? They got stories of people who know that when they fled from Israel in 70 AD, a lot of them got stuck in Ethiopia and stayed there, right? So where's Ethiopia? Where's Ethiopia? Huh? And how did they flee to the mountains? And, like, where would they go? The next thing I got to ask, according to this map, where are the mountains in Egypt? In order for you to get to Ethiopia from Israel, you got to go through Egypt. According to Yahushua, there's supposed to be some mountains when you get there. but they got Egypt in the plains where it's flat. Y'all see that? Yeah, Syria, Chicago. Yeah, where it's snow. Y'all ever heard of snow in Assyria? Sargon is the snow king, not the scorpion king. How about that, world without end? Huh? They should have had the Rock dress up in like a fur coat, like a Viking or something, and put him in England instead of the desert. Because Sargon from Chicago, right? Babylon is Ohio and Michigan. How about that? Shinar is the great myth, homie. It's snow in Shinar. Akkad got the best air on the planet. It's right next to Canada. The Siberian Scorpion King. Yep. He looked like Khabib Magomedov. Yeah. So that's what's going on here, right? So we see Israel, right? And Egypt is in the plains where it's flat. Doesn't make any sense. Let's get some more questions out the way, right? We got Jonah. Jonah took a ship from the land of Dan in the south, because Dan had two lands. Dan was special. Dan had the top and the south. He took Lashem from brothers up north, took some of the northern kingdom land, right, from Lashem, had his own tribe up there, and he had the port in Joppa, right? Let's get that right quick to show you guys what I'm talking about. Hold on a second. Hold up. It's in Joshua 19, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, Joshua 19 and 40. Let me read this for y'all right quick. Joshua 19 and 40. All right. It says, and the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families. And the coast of their inheritance was Zorah and Estahol and Irishmesh and Shabalabin and Ajalon and Jethlah and Elon and Temathana and Ekron and Eltekna and Elteka, Salakia. I always get that wrong. And Gibbethon and Balaath, right? Jeddah, Bene Barak, Garithramon, Mejakaran, Rakan, and with the border of Japho, which is now known as Japhah, right? Now watch this. And the coast of the children of Dan went out to little for them. Therefore, the children of Dan went up, because they said, this is too little. We ain't got enough land here on this coast. We need some more land. So the children of Dan went up, the Danes, the Danites, right, and fought against Lashem, and they took it and smote it with the edge of the sword and possessed it and dwelt therein, and called Lashem Dan, after the name of their fathers. So there's a southern Dan and a northern Dan, right? Now, northern Dan, let me show you real quick. Southern Dan is going to be by the port, because something specific happened with Dan. They used to trade a lot, right? When we go into Ezekiel 27 and 17, this is why you need to know the history of the Bible, because the history will tell you where certain geographical locations have to be and where they can't be, right? When you go to Ezekiel 27, let's start at 17. It says, Judah and the land of Israel, they were thy merchants. So we were merchants, right? Not just Judah, but all the Israelites. It's going to tell you specifically, which ones were next to Judah, and there's a certain port that it's going to talk about, right? That we just spoke about. Damascus, it says, Salakia, they traded in thy market wheat of Minnith and Penag and honey and oil and balm. Damascus was thy merchant, right? Damascus is like Syria. So if we put a map back up, they don't even have Syria on here, but I guess Damascus is going to be, I don't know, Canada, the tip of Washington. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So, but is supposed to be Syria, right? That's Damascus. So why was thy merchant, Salakia, Damascus was thy merchant in the multitude of the wars, right, of thy making, or wares of thy making, for the multitude of all riches in the wine of Helbon and white wool. Now watch this. Dan also and Javan. Who is Javan? Do y'all remember who that is? Huh? Y'all know Javan is the Isles of the Gentiles. That's one of Japhet's sons, right? So hold up, real quick. It says, Dan also and Javan going to and fro, occupied in thy fairs, brought iron, cassia, and calamus were in thy market. So Dan is trading with Javan, right? Which is why the Danes had so much history over there in Europe and stuff like that, because they was always going back and forth with Japhet, right? Via ships. How about that? So now, as we see, Javan and Dan have to be closely related. Dan has to be on a coast that will give him access to a body of water that could get him to and from the land of Japhet, right? Now watch this. I got to pull up a map, a real map. Actually, let me do this first, just so we know where everything is. Where is Joppa located? Let's do this. Let me pull this up real quick so we can show you guys where Joppa is first, and then we'll pull up the map. All right. So Joppa is supposed to be a place. The biblical city of Joppa, also known as Jaffa or Jaffa or Joppa or Joppo, was located on the coast of Israel in the southern part of what is now Tel Aviv Yafo, right? So if we pull up a map, it's supposed to be on a coast, right? Oh, let me read more. Joppa was a major port city and entry point to Israel for thousands of years. It was located on a rocky cape that jutted into the Mediterranean Sea, about 35 miles northwest of Jerusalem. All right. So it's a port city northwest of Jerusalem. We know Jerusalem is to the south. So if we pull up a map, let me make sure y'all still see this. All right, bet. So we got this map up. You see, Jaffa, according to them, is in the Middle East, Israel, which is also where we think it is. But Jaffa, right? Let me zoom out. Now watch this. And you see Jerusalem, right? So we got northwest. It's a port. You see the Mediterranean Sea right here, right? We got Cyprus, which is a son and a brother of Javan, right? So he's got access to that. Dan could go here, right? Nineveh would have been up here, around here somewhere, right? So he got access to Nineveh. If you know anything about Jonah, which we're going to read in a second, Jonah caught a ship from Jaffa and tried to go to Tarshish, which is also part of the Isles of the Gentiles, right? Jonah tried to catch a ship to the land of Japhet to flee the presence of the Lord when the Lord was asking him to go right up the road to Nineveh, right? From Joppa. So let's read that real quick one time for the one time. Jonah 1:1. I'll start there just to show you what I'm talking about. It says, now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. Watch this. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh and went down to Joppa. So he's going to a port to get on a boat to go to Tarshish, right? Let's zoom out. Boom, boom, boom. Tarshish is going to be over here, right? Portugal, Spain. It's way over here, Javan, right? So all this is the Isles of the Gentiles, right? Tarshish way over here. Jonah is trying to hop on a ship and get way over here, right? To flee the presence of the Lord. Nineveh up here. Most High wants him to pull up, right? Just go north. He said, nah. He goes down to Joppa and hops in the ship, right? And we know what happens to Jonah and everything like that. The point is, Joppa's a port city. It's got to give you access to the Isles of the Gentiles. Unless they're trying to say that Japhet isn't Europe, right? Japhet got to be what? Asia? Because look, let's look at the map. If we go to the Americas, right? This is where they're trying to tell us that Jerusalem is, right? Right here. California, Nevada, Portland, all that stuff. All this is supposed to be Jerusalem from California to Oregon, right? That's what they're trying to tell us. If Joppa, let's say Joppa's right here, right? This port right here. You telling me he got to come all the way to Japan to get to Tarshish? That's what you're saying? Huh? Or what? Is it Hawaii? Huh? And then at this point, if that's the case, does that mean that Japan isn't Ammon and China isn't Moab? Right? Huh? The Koreans in Japan are no longer Ammon, and China and all them people ain't they ain't Moab no more. That has to be the case. That has to be something that they're saying, if that's what they're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, Minoans, Samoans, all them people. All that has to be different. So that's my point, right? With the map. It just doesn't make any sense. So Jonah had to come from Joppa. Right? Ezekiel tells you that Joppa was Dan's land, and Dan had access to Japhon, right? So if he's got access to Javon, and nobody I've heard has ever tried to say that Javon is Canada or Javon is Japan. So how was Dan trading with Javon if Dan's land was in California? It makes absolutely no sense, right? Let's get into this other aspect of it. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 13 and 40, because there's something else I want to prove to you guys real quick. Well, actually, let me before we do that, let's get back to the video.
The other ancient kingdoms are located in the Americas based on an overwhelming abundance of evidence and proof that the land of Canaan, along with other ancient civilizations, have always been located in these lands and not on the other side of the Atlantic. I hope that by the end of this documentary and or series that you will become a firm believer too.
Now he says he's showing you different stones that were unearthed in America, right? Now, them being unearthed in America doesn't mean anything, because the Native Americans were here from 722 BC. We had a bunch of artifacts that came here, more than have been unearthed, right? There's artifacts that Edomites just got sitting in their house that they found a long time ago. They ain't bring them all to no museum. There's artifacts that natives still have with their tribes in their little museums they have in Oklahoma, right? Some of them have them in the casinos when you pull up, if they have a casino on their land. There's a bunch of artifacts. It's because we came here with those people. We took all our stuff with us. Some of it got buried. Some of it was traded. Some of it was this. Some of it was that. It don't mean that we was here the whole time and we never left here. We from here, aboriginal to this land. That's not what that means, right? He says American Aboriginal mound in Bat Creek. It's just a mound that natives lived in Bat Creek, Tennessee, right? The tribe was called the Tennessee, right? That's what it was called. So the Tennessee tribe had the Bat Creek stone, right? Chief Joseph's tribe, which is, I believe, was the Dakota, they had the Chief Joseph stone, right? My tribe, Quanah Parker and them, they had a stone. The people in New Mexico had the Las Lunas stone, right? There's people in Peru with a stone. We got stones all over the place. But it's because, as you see in the Bible that we're about to read in 2nd Esdras, we came to this land to keep the law, statutes, and commandments that we didn't get to keep in our land and that we didn't get to keep in Assyria. That was the whole point of us coming over here, right? So check this out. 2nd Esdras chapter 13. Verse 40 says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei, right? Which we talked about last week. The king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. It wasn't Shalmaneser that carried them over the waters. It was his troop, as I told you, because Shalmaneser died. He was murdered, right? His people, his band, probably his captains and everything like that. His direct troop came and sailed with them to the Americas. All of the historical artifacts, all of the books, all of the articles say that they never went back to Assyria, which means what? They were who we were populating with. That's why all the Native Americans, well, not all of them, a large percentage of Native Americans in certain parts of the Americas have a certain look. That's also similar to the people that were in the islands, right? The Arawak Tainos and stuff. They got that brown skin with that jet black hair, and it's, like that of a East Indian or an Assyrian or a Persian or something like that. It's because they were mixing with the Assyrians that got off the boats with them, that came over here with them, right? There were sects of them that mixed with them. There were sects of them that stayed to themselves. You know how Jake is. It was like the Jews and the Gentiles over in Jerusalem. There were sects of us that wanted to keep the law, sects of us that didn't really give a damn about that, right? And we see the result of such. There were certain Israelite tribes known as Native Americans that wore fringes and a border of blue. There were some of us that walked around in draws and stuff like Assyrians, right? It depends on what it was that they was brought up around, who it was that they was around when they got here, right? But that's the history that these guys don't seem to know anything about. Why? Because their foundation is not the Bible. It's YouTube and Facebook. So, but anyway, it says, Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, led them away captive and carried them into their own land over some waters, right? Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, right? So Shalmaneser is taking them over the waters, right? Okay. Now, this tells me they probably docked up somewhere and decided, nah, we're going to go further. That's how they end up in the Americas, right? Now, and we know that there's Northern Kingdom people that docked off somewhere else, right? They didn't all come over here. So that leads this to be true as well. So a lot of them got scattered off this one particular ship, right? Or however many ships it was. This one particular voyage, we'll call it, right? A lot of them got left behind. Some of them ended up in India. Some of them ended up in Africa, right? South Africa and stuff like that. Some of them docked off in South America and never got back with the other people, right? Some of them went to islands, never got back with the other people. The ones that stayed together, they docked up in South America and they traveled north. That's what all the artifacts say, all the history says, right? Once they get to the Americas, they stop and they travel up north, right? So watch this. It's going to explain that part. It says the multitude of the heathen, by the way, is these northern or these Assyrian people that have gotten off the ship with them because they're in a land where never mankind dwelt. They're going to a place where other people aren't at. They leave the multitude of the heathen, right? So some of them are, around us and they end up going north, right? Leaving the multitude of them to go do their own thing, right? Into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes, which they didn't keep in their own land. So now it's going to tell you the route that they took. So they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. I've done this before and I will show you again. Let me put this down. That's something else they didn't put on this map. Where is the Euphrates River in America? Is it the Mississippi, nigga? That what you trying to tell me? The Mississippi River is the Euphrates. Hold on, let me. All right. So look. Let me just do this. Euphrates River. There we go. All right. So look. Assyria is over here. Carries us over the waters. Bloop. So we pass the Euphrates, travel down by the narrow stretches of the river, right? Follow the path of the river. What did it say? It says they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. For the Most High showed them signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. Right? What flood y'all think you're talking about? You think you're talking about the flood in the Euphrates River? That's, not a Euphrates River anymore. Talking about the flood in the Euphrates River that was dwindling at this time as well? Or could it be the flood once they get through the narrow passages of the river, right? And end up in the great waters, what they call the Persian Gulf, right? There's going to be floods here every year, right? There's also some narrow straits in this thing. Once you get through the Gulf of Oman, it starts to open up, right? Now you in the ocean. You got to go around Africa. Gotta go around Africa, right? Through Madagascar, and you pull up right here, right? And from there you can move up. Some can move up, and we're gonna see how the best tribe in Israel, the Gadites, end up taking the big land because they had the lawgiver's portion, right? So says, for the Most High showed them signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So this place they docked off at, where they go to separate themselves from the heathen, when they're separating, it took them a year and a half to separate. It took them a year and a half to travel through that land, right? Do it take a year and a half to get from here to here? No. I'm going to show you, right? I will show you. Hold on. Where is it? Here we go. All right. So look. Oh, is that what I want? Hold on. Yeah, this one. Okay, my bad. Here we go. How long does it take to walk from Israel to Tunisia? Reason I'm showing you this, let me pull this up first. To talk about Africa, right? The brothers and sisters that believe that nonsense about Arsareth and Africa. Hopefully y'all can see this because I can't zoom in no more. But this is a map, right? Supposedly of Africa. You see, Africa. That's what the Greeks called it. Place of the not cold, right? Africa. So, Africa. When you look here between these mountains here, right? There's a word that they've zoomed in on. It's spelled Afareth. That spells Afareth. Not Arsareth, but Afareth, right? Whoever the duck monkey is named, Judah Awakened, that made this 3 years ago, is the main person that started this doctrine. As you know, Hebrew Israelites on Facebook, they don't do research. They just see something and go for it, right? Right, afar. And then they start telling you, oh, yeah, Africa's not from Leo Scipio Africanus. It's from the Afar tribe. They're really Egyptian and all this other BS, right? So, yeah, the Afar. That's crazy. The Mississippi River is the Nile, Nephtali. They wilding, bro. And Japan is Javan. I got it. I get it. Yeah. All that. So look, Arsareth is not Arsareth, right? Further proof. This is about the location of Tunisia, right? This is Europe, right here. Spain, Portugal is supposed to be this thing right there, right? Hispania, right? That's where the name Hispanic comes from. Hispania. That's what Spain and Portugal used to be called. Hispania, right? So we see this is clearly North Africa right here, right? This would be West Africa. This is Northwest Africa, right? Where the Jews were expelled. So let's say this is about Tunisia, right? So if we go to the map, right? I hope everybody's used Google Maps before because we have access to Google Maps now. Shalom, Soji Yakwa. We have access to Google Maps, right? Google Maps has this feature on it where you can walk and it tell you how long it's going to take you to walk somewhere. In all the years I've been using Google Maps, I'm an Android guy, F for iPhone, right? In all the years I've been using Google Maps, it has never done me wrong, especially with the walking map, right? Every time it tell me if I got to walk somewhere, it's going to take me 13 minutes. It always take me 13 minutes to walk there, right? Whatever it is. So if we say how long it's going to take for us to get from Israel to, Tunisia to Arsareth, right? Because, the northern kingdom got to be there. If the southern kingdom left Jerusalem in Luke 21 and went to Arsareth because the slave trade didn't happen, right? And they just in Africa, right? Or if the northern kingdom left Assyria and traveled with Shalmaneser through the narrow stretches of the river, and it took them a year and a half to get to Tunisia, we should be able to see that, right? To Arsareth, Northwest Africa, right? We should be able to see that. So let's pull up a map, Google Maps. Let's see how long it takes to get from Israel to Assyria, right? Everybody know that a year and a half is more than 360 days, right? 365 days, whatever you want to consider a year. It's more than that. So if the number of time or the amount of time it takes us to get from Tunisia to Israel or Israel to Tunisia, which is where Arsareth would be, then it should correspond with a year and a half. Because the Bible says that's how long it took for them to get through the land, right? Read one more time for y'all. Verse 2nd Esdras 13:43. They entered into the Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. For the Most High then showed them signs. So they go through the Euphrates, they pass the Euphrates. Once they're past the Euphrates, the Most High shows them signs and held to the flood, which means they're in a bigger body of water than the Euphrates after they leave the Euphrates, right? So wherever you say Arsareth is, there got to be a big body of water that leads from Assyria to there, right? On the map that we saw, Assyria was Chicago. I don't know about no big body of water from Chicago to California. Y'all could let me know if I'm wrong. I might be tripping, but I don't know. I've never seen it on a map before. I never seen a big old river called the Great River that goes through Chicago and goes west to California. I just never seen it, right? But anyway, any whoozy, right? It says, verse 44, for the Most High showed them signs, hail stood the flood till they were passed over. So once they get through this big body of water, right? Most High hail stood the flood, make sure they ain't sink their ship, no Titanic activities, right? Verse 45, now they're on land, dry shod. For through that country, there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Arsareth. And they dwelt there until the latter time, and now, when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again. Meaning we're going to have to go back through these waters again. We're going to have to go over these waters again. Something's going to have to happen through these waters again, right? For us to get back to the land that we're supposed to go to. And the highest shall stay the spring of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace, right? So that's that. Let me pull this up and see how long it's going to take. It's going to take a year and a half. So, oh, wait, hold up. That's the time. How long does it take to walk from Israel to Tunisia? 682 hours. They even got it in Arabic. It's 3,046.9 kilometers. Kilometers, whatever you want to call it, right? Israel, Tunisia, right? Now, let's just for the sake of time, how long does it take to walk from Chicago to Cali? $740. All right. So 2,024 kilometers. See that? That's where, and we made it further because really this was Babylon, right? So we got Assyria, Babylon, and Jerusalem, right? So it takes 740 hours. Now, let's see if any of that is even remotely close to a year and a half. If any of you drive for a living, you'll know it's not, right? But got to prove all things, right? How long is 682 hours? In days, 682 hours is less than a month, guys. 28 days. You think 740 is going to be too much more than that? 30 days, 740 hours. Remember, it's 24 hours in a day, guys. You could walk from Chicago to Cali on a straight path using Google Maps, not walking through water, right? If you cool walking through spider webs and going through jungles and stuff like Gad used to do, you could get across the land in 30 days. You think it'd take a year and a half, though, to travel from Assyria in the Middle East to the Americas? Put a 7 in the chat if you think that's possible. Put a 7 in the chat if you think it's possible for it to take a year and a half without an airplane, a gas-powered motorboat, right? A cargo slave ship, whatever you want to call it. You think it'd take a... Hell. Didn't Jackie Chan and that white boy have a movie called Around the World in 80 Days? Ain't that basically, 180 days? Ain't that basically going around the world? They was doing it in an airplane, and it's supposed to take them 180 days. Right? So, explain to me how, if everything is in America, how would second Esdras be true? You could get from Chicago to California on foot in 2024 in 740 hours, almost 31 days. Right? Also, like I said, the prophecies have to stand true. All of us have to be in the same place at the same time. Right? Let's run through this again. Jeremiah 50 and 33. If the northern kingdom's in Africa and the southern kingdom's in America, there has to be another captivity to make this scripture be true. Right? Y'all talk about Jeremiah 17 and 4 all the time. Right? We discontinued from our heritage that God gave us. Okay. Well, is the rest of Jeremiah true or is it wrong? Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. We weren't oppressed together in Assyria. We weren't oppressed together in Babylon. We weren't oppressed together with the Persians and Medes. We weren't oppressed together with the Romans. Everything after Assyria was mainly southern kingdom. Of course, there was a few of the northern kingdom there, but not the majority, right? So we have to, at some point, be put in a situation where we're in the same land oppressed together. If one is in Africa and one is in America, then we're not oppressed together. That's an issue. That means there has to be another captivity that puts us in the same place. Right? It says, and all that took them captive held them fast and refused to let them go. Wherever you're at, you're supposed to be in a place with the slave master that's not going to let you go. From what I know, slave masters not letting us go here in America, right? They still controlling us, trying to get us to vote every year and stuff like that. So to me, that holds true. But if only half of us is here, it's not me. It don't mean anything to those of us that's over there, right? So that's what y'all got to keep in mind. You know what I mean, Jeremiah 50 and 33 has to be true, and right now it's not. If you believe what these guys believe, something else that's not true. Jeremiah 16 and 14. We have to be taken from the land of the north, right? Well, it's got to be a different land than where Egypt was at. America, according to that map we saw, in Egypt was on the same thing, right? Same tectonic plate. Arsareth is supposed to be a land where never mankind dwelt, right? If Arsareth is in America, but Israel is in America, that means Arsareth was dwelt there before, right? If Arsareth is in Africa, that means Arsareth was dwelt in before, because there's no place in Africa that's never been dwelt in. It's all inhabited or has been inhabited. There's no place in Africa that has not been inhabited by people. There's no major land in Africa that nobody has never been to. But America was like that, right? So again, things got to make sense prophetically, not just according to what you want to believe. Jeremiah 31 and 8. Some things are put in twos. Jeremiah was just a prophet for this type of stuff, right? He was on it. You know what I mean? It says, behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, right? And with them, the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither. Return where? Right? Return to Israel. So if Israel's in America and we in America, why do we need to return? We could just walk over there. Ain't nothing got to take us. Didn't I mention earlier how we're going to have to go back through the rivers again? Where's the river we're going to have to go back to if it's all in America? So that's the stuff I want you guys to think about. It has to make sense. And right now, the stuff y'all saying doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, that's really it. That's all I got for y'all, man. So, I hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. I hope that it made sense to y'all. We're going to go from there. Y'all give me just a second. Hold on a second. I got to check something out. All right. So, yeah. All right, guys. But yeah, so let me check some of these comments out. All right. So Louise Dones, man, we came late, but I'm definitely watching this video from the beginning because the title sounds definitely. Oh yeah, man. Hopefully it was for y'all. But point of the matter is, I just want you guys to understand that it can't be in Israel can't be in America. Arsareth has to be America, right? Because it's a place that had to be traveled to by ship. Okay, thanks. It's a place that has to be traveled to by ship, and our people have to be in a situation where we have to understand that the prophecies have to make sense. And a lot of the places y'all are trying to, put places at, just because y'all think the white man lied about everything, you're making it not make sense for Israelites, right? And it's hard for us that know what we're talking about to get through to people that don't know what they're talking about, because y'all make so many videos that sound good to people that don't know much, right? But are actually doing research, and it makes it more difficult for us to get the truth out there as far as the doctrine, because it's so many people paying attention to y'all videos and you don't know what you're talking about, right? Like New Breed has a huge following. He's got a big channel, and he be wrong about 89% of the stuff he says pertaining to Israelites, pertaining to the Bible. It ain't true. It's not right. It ain't biblical. And there's a bunch of people that have spoken about it. But he has such a big following because there's a lot of people that don't really know what the Bible says, don't know nothing about the history. So when brothers like New Breed, when brothers like Dane Calloway get up there and say something, folks that don't know nothing believe it. And they watch so many of their videos. They have so many other stupid friends that believe the crap that when you try to tell them or show them something that's real, it's hard for them to believe it. So that's the main thing I want everybody to realize. You know what I'm saying? Do your research for sure. And everything they say isn't wrong, because you have to think, right? They had to keep a certain aspect of everything that we did the way it's supposed to be, had to make it true, and had to, teach it as if it was true for them to be who they claim to be. The Jewish people had to take some of our history and implant themselves in it for them to make their claim valid. Does that make sense? So it doesn't mean they lied about everything, right? They might have lied about the identity of the people going through certain things and doing certain things and stuff like that. But the actual events that happened doesn't mean that those were a lie. The places that they say the events happened doesn't mean that those were a lie, right? And that's what y'all have to be able to discern. A lot of y'all don't have very good discernment skills, right? Read this. This is the Jewish Encyclopedia. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of men. If you know anything about history, right? If you know anything about the Pleistocene epochs, the ice ages, all that type of stuff, the thing they call the cradle of civilization is called such because it was where civilization started, right? The reason Arsareth is a place never mankind dwelt is because it's a place people were not at, right? The reason they call it the far away from the habitation of man is because it's far away from where all of men were, right? And men predominantly were in the cradle of civilization, the so-called Middle East, right? Where the Fertile Crescent was, where Nimrod had his kingdom. Egypt isn't far from there either. Israel, right there, right? The three biggest civilizations. Then when the Roman Greeks came up, Persian Mede, all the big civilizations started there. The only one different was in this place, Arsareth, which has to be taken by our last captor, our last slave master, right? The Bible calls him Esau because it says Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of the one that followeth, right? Again, you have to know the Bible. So if Esau is supposed to come from a place where, he's able to get on a ship from the end of the earth and come as swift as the eagle flieth, like it says in Deuteronomy 28, 47 and 49, right? Hey, Shalom, Shemawan. He got to be a Shakadash Rock. He has to be somebody that, comes from far. He's got to be somebody that could get on a ship and come from the end of the earth. It ain't the end of the earth, though, if it's all in America. It's not the end of the earth if Israel is in the Middle East and, they just have to travel to Africa, which is right next door. But it is the end of the earth if they're going from, Israel to the Americas, right? So everything isn't a lie. That's what y'all got to understand. And you got to stop treating it as such. You just got to be able to do your research to find out what exactly is true and who was who, right? Doesn't mean that everything was a lie, though. So says this place Arsareth is far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel dwell, observing the laws of Moses, until the time of the restoration, according to what? They say fourth Esdras. We say second Esdras, right? 1345, 40 to 49, really. Columbus identified America with the land, and it's Case Learning's Christopher Columbus. So there's even books on Christopher Columbus that explain this stuff. And further in that video that I showed you guys, if y'all want to watch it yourself, he's going to go into telling you that Christopher Columbus' real name is something Zodak, and they had him listed as a Moreno, which means he's probably black, and all this other stuff. All of that's great. I don't give a damn because Columbus was a scout, if you will, right, for the enemy. So even if he was a brother and a Jew, it don't matter because he was working for the enemy, right? They made Luis de Torres convert, which means he was also a scout working for the enemy. We know he's an Israelite. So if him and Columbus were both Jews and they both converted and they both, did what they did, raping, robbing, and murdering people when they got over here after they, knew who they was and knew they was their people. If Columbus was the same as Luis de Torres, it doesn't make them great, right? So I don't really care about that. The point is, they knew where Arsareth was, right? The people that they came to see in Arsareth spoke Hebrew, right? Do the people in West Africa speak Hebrew right now, or are they speaking West African languages? Just asking. Just asking, right? Because they weren't the ones taking on slave ships, so they slave masters wasn't beating and breaking their mouths up and making them, speak different languages. Only person really known for that in West Africa was the Sikh Muhammad. Mansa Musa didn't do that. So why they wasn't speaking Hebrew still when Mansa Musa was around? Why they all was Muslim? Speaking Arabic. When the Sikh Muhammad pulled up, they're still Muslim. Speaking Arabic. Right? No Hebrew. There were Hebrews. They had Hebrew names. Did they speak Hebrew? Negative. But the ones in America, they still spoke Hebrew. They still wore fringes. They still had their border of Tekalet with the lavender or blue. They still wear them at their powwows. When you go to Ghana, do you see them with their big old garments with fringes on it, or do they just have the big old colorful garments on? I just see them with the big old colorful garments. I never see the fringes in the border. Just saying, just me. It wasn't prophecy for them to go to another land where never mankind dwelt to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right? They left the land dipping, fleeing to the mountains. That's how they got to West Africa. You see, the prophecies match because they make sense. And that's what y'all have to be able to do. Everything's not a lie that Esau's told us. That's what y'all got to get right in your heads, right? It's not all a lie. Most of it is true. The fact of the matter is the people that they've put in place of what is what's false and what's wrong, right? Our people aren't, Amalek and stuff. But everything they say Amalek went through, that was really us, right? That's what y'all have to take into account. That's what y'all got to do your research on instead of just thinking everything's a lie because of Psalm 83. Them saying the name of Israel be no more remembrance doesn't mean everything they taught about Israel was a lie. It's no more remembrance because the people that are really the ones that went through that no longer remember. That's what Jeremiah 17:4 is telling you. You have to get your memory by doing the research and reattaching yourself to those events. Not thinking all of those events were a lie and trying to reconstruct all of history. That's what you Facebookalites are doing, and that's why I can't stand you, right? So stop it, please. With that, I yield. So hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. That's all I got for y'all tonight. So shalom to everybody that pulled up late. Let me see if I can see y'all. I don't do this as good as knock. I'm used to it. Shout out Arctaze. Know you came a little late. Word without end. Shout out to you. Soldier Antonio was good, King. I already said what's up to Yaquab. Let me see who else we got up in here. Luis, Shalom. Zabawalan, Shalom King. Big Shemai LOZ in the building. Yes, I guess that's it. All right. So yeah, man. Hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. Hope y'all learned something. Hope y'all realize without a shadow of a doubt, emphatically, that Arsareth is the Americas. Whether Columbus was black or not doesn't matter. Whatever you find out about anybody's identity, unless it's them being an Israelite, doesn't matter, right? And if their identity was different than what they were taught or what you were taught, it doesn't mean that everything else about them was a lie. That's what y'all have to realize. If they changed the identity, it's because they wanted to take credit for what that person did, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that what that person did or where they did it was a lie. It just means the identity that they gave to the person was a lie. Iconoclast, right? When they changed the identity of the person, though, they didn't change the things that the person did, right? Like, for example, when you Google King David, they made him white. They didn't change everything about the King David in the Bible, though, right? When you look up King James, he's white. And they got the thing about him being gay. But other than those two things, they didn't change all the history about King James, right? And you could find the history that tells you he had 11 children. He had a wife. Can't be gay having 11 children and a wife, right? At least I've never seen it. So, especially not the king when you ain't got to hide nothing. So, I mean, yeah, just doesn't make any sense. So stop trying to change all of history just because you know that certain things were wrong, right? Or identities, rather, were wrong. Doesn't mean that everything about that person and the identity that you read about was wrong. That's what y'all have to realize. So, Terza says, great timing to water for this topic. My son just said this the other day. I was wondering what the heck he was talking about. I need to look into this new breed. Yeah, new breed is a duck monkey, and you could tell him I said it. I've tried to debate him before, but he never replies to the messages. I've heard other people have tried too. And he even made videos saying he left the Israelite community because he knows that we don't agree with him. But he keeps getting, he's got a following of people that want to learn something, and they just happen to come against him first, or come across him first, rather. So, yeah. Pray for all the people that watch him, and anybody that thinks and believes what he believes, like all them other dudes that the guy mentioned at the beginning of that video that we went over earlier. So, if you watch any of those guys, stop. If you don't stop, don't hit us up because we're not going to agree with each other. So that's that. All right. So hope y'all enjoyed the class. Let me pull this up. Next week, I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but whatever it is, we will let y'all know in advance. So yeah, man. Hope y'all stay tuned for the rest of the classes we got throughout the week. And once again, the water for everybody that pulled up for the summit, man. Y'all did good. Y'all made it look nice. So, appreciate y'all for sure. We'll see y'all next week. Hopefully nobody has any questions because I ain't answering no more. Let me make sure ain't no more comments. We good. All right, bet. All right. So we'll see y'all next week, man. Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, 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 black music, black music, black music, black music.